Welcome to becoming an elite financial advisor. I'll be your host today. On this show, we help financial advisors recognize and reach their full potential faster. Today, we're going to give you kind of behind the scenes look on my practice. What things are going well? What struggles are we having right now? What things are we looking at towards the future? So let's jump in.
Sten, thanks for, this is a funny phrase, but opening the kimono. Do you know what that
Nice.
is?
I do
Right.
fully know what that
We
is.
are on YouTube, but there's no kimono opening on YouTube. We don't get banned.
So we hope you are shocked, because that's probably the initial reaction usually when that happens.
That's right. No kimono opening. Sorry. As we think about what the audience needs and wants, I think that one of the things that you personally have shared with me, you get frustrated, is people who give advice that aren't still in trenches. And I think you're in the trenches. Trenches are, you got to, go out, kill it, and bring it home, right? Like you got to go out and make business.
And that's personal preference. There's plenty of coaches that are out there just teaching good processes, systems, all for it. I would look to say, hey, who's done it really well? And then I want to learn from them.
Right. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about how I would call it the state of legacy, right? So Legacy is your company. What's the official name? Remind me.
Well, Legacy Investment Planning.
Okay. All right.
That took a long time to come up with. And then it slowly rebranded itself to Legacy. That's what people call us.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Good. I knew it had a full name. Full name. They call me Legacy, but my full name is
street name.
That's
Yeah,
right.
street
That's
name.
right. So just give us a real quick, when was Legacy born, where you left, wherever the last company was, where you didn't have a name or couldn't have a name? How old is Legacy?
There's the date that I opened an LLC with the name, and then there's the date that I started becoming a business.
Yeah.
So my path was Northwestern Mutual in college, good sales training, enjoyed it. I was living out in Portland, Oregon at the time. I wanted to kind of spread my wings, so I moved to Nashville. And in that move, I was looking around and found an investment firm, Raymond James Group. Joined up with them. Still at this point, I'm more of a sales-focused advisor. I'm still learning, but I have products on the shelf that I'm trying to sell, and my value is that product. Was there for a little bit and said, hey, maybe there's a different way to do this business, or my first feeling of like, hey, maybe I want to do this for myself as opposed to working for a firm that technically owns my book, and if I ever leave someday, it's kind of that whole process.
Yeah.
And that's when I started Legacy.
Okay. So LLC versus start of the business.
Yep. So when I first started DBAing, doing business as Legacy, I was able to do that with a kind of a brokerage firm I was with.
Okay.
I was still in the same headspace. I was still, what are the products available to me, and let's go find people that need it.
Were you Legacy Investment Planning from the beginning? Was that the official?
That was the official first name. Yeah.
I think
so
that's
that was
cool,
on the
though.
card.
I think it's cool that
the first domain was brutal, if you could imagine. Until one day I'm sitting in my office and I'm like, wait, is Invest Legacy available? And most of the time, I don't know if anybody's ever gone domain shopping. All the good ones are taken.
Yeah,
and a lot of them aren't even used. Somebody's just holding on to it to sell it for a crazy price.
But you got it.
I got it. And I was like,
I know you got it.
So I took a bunch of variations to figure out what's a good one. And I was like, investlegacy.com. Like, hey, that's not going to scare somebody away.
The key is, if you have to, it's like a joke. If you have to explain it, it's not a good joke.
That's right.
If you have to explain your URL,
underscore.
That's right. No, that's the number 6.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, then you write out the 7.
That's right.
Anyway, yeah.
It looks more like a Wi-Fi passcode auto-generated or something.
That's right. All right. So that's the history. You grew. Who was your first hire? Admin?
Jamie, who's still with me. Yeah.
As an admin.
As a relationship manager. It was me looking and realizing I was sitting at the office at 6 p.m. at night, married at this point, no kids yet, thinking maybe there's something that I should be doing besides this.
You're like, I have a wife who likes me, and I'm filling out
because I
policy.
had to. That was business had to get done, and that's when I was like, there's probably a better use of my time.
Yeah.
I'd heard from other people to hire people, like all the same stuff we're coaching people on. Like I've been stuck in that moment, nervous about
how
what
long
comes
until
next.
you hired Jamie when you went on your own?
4 months.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, it was a little freaky. But I realized like it just was not going to work. The lifestyle I didn't want. There's no way I was going to scale if I spent half of my time.
You paid her whole salary on the first day,
always,
as we teach people.
That's what we do. No,
you paid her first month.
No, she was probably at that time, because it's not like I had a big slush fund. So I was making maybe $120,000 that year.
Yeah.
If I paid her 60, she was making what I was making technically.
That part, I love to see people's reactions. Is how much did you pay your first person? As much as I was making. They're like, Gulp.
Yeah.
They're
The
like,
good news, it only took a few months for, all of a sudden me taking, freeing up 60% of my time and applying that to new business.
Right.
We never looked back.
Right. Great. All right. And the next hire was position, not
Dustin joined, who was just another senior advisor.
Okay.
But
And then
senior being we were both figuring stuff out. But,
right.
And then Chris, a junior.
Oh, wow.
Add like a paraplanner to help us with all the stuff
was
we should be doing.
Was this his first job out of?
He had an internship at
Okay.
a financial firm, but
Well,
he
no.
graduated and drove out
Okay.
from California.
So the idea, though, is that this was his first sort of gig, which is a pretty awesome blessing because you didn't go, okay, now you have to sell to feed your family, right?
Yeah.
You allowed him to get a CFP. You forced him, required,
We were forcing,
to get the CFP super fast.
8 months or so. Yeah,
right.
It was a high bar, yeah.
Because you knew he had a position to fill within planning and okay.
Yep.
And then you added another admin?
Admin, Jamie then kind of elevated to more of a project manager, practice manager-ish.
Right.
He was kind of in training.
Okay.
Yep.
And then more admin support.
Yep. And then we have another advisor that joined because we
Yeah.
had capacity, we had offices.
Right.
Who's an advisor that wants to come in and use our infrastructure? It's a good
Right.
culture fit. So really each stage then lends itself to the next.
Right.
But I had to get over the initial hurdle of like, is this just I want to make money for myself and sell all day and
Let me ask this.
put out fires all the time?
We got a lot to other cover, but I want to ask this. Was the first one really the hardest? Or did it get any easier?
It got easier
Because it's
in the financial
friggin' scary
sense.
for some people to go 6 people that somehow like what I do is tied to. Was the first one like?
First one was the scariest one from a financial standpoint. Other hires got more complex because we had some not so good hires, and I had to learn the hard way of like, wow, that's damaging to a culture and a productivity. And I've learned through all that, like hiring somebody with a good attitude that's coachable, foundational. I've had people that had experience got referred over and they were just kind of hesitant. Whenever I feel myself not wanting to ask somebody on the team for help, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Like if you're scared of their reaction or they're going to have like a negative response to you saying, hey, this is a team, we all need to get better about how we ask for stuff, and that can all be worked out. But I have a very low tolerance for that now. When I start feeling that, it leads to some coaching conversations and then probably maybe not a good fit.
Coaching conversations. That's
But
really nice.
the first hire had to get over the financial fear. But once I saw it work, that we were making more money than we did before, that you kind of have your first proof of concept.
Okay.
After that, it just became more about like, okay, here's more people to encourage, keep on task. And that's why that practice manager role is so important. And for my firm, is because I don't want to always be the one critiquing people. I want to come into the office sometimes and people be excited to see me, not like, oh no, work.
I also think that there's a skill set, if you're being honest, and we want everyone to be honest with themselves, of, is it really the highest and best use of your time? And are you the best at evaluating and talking to people about their professional, growth and development or performance? Like maybe that sounds better coming from someone else.
Yes,
in
our case, that is true.
But I mean, really, like,
that's good.
Who I just don't think that God makes that many people. It's like, oh, you're great at sales and you're great at finance and you're great at managing people and you're great at running the day-to-day business and you really like to go shop for the snacks.
That's right.
No, like
that's right. It does take a team.
That person doesn't exist.
That's right.
Right. And so just to go, hey, there's someone who can do this better.
Yep.
Right. And I do think that it is and again, this is aspirational for a lot of those who are listening, but to have another layer between you and your staff, I think it creates a healthy buffer.
Yep.
Right. So let's talk some more about the business. If someone says sort of, how's business going? Is it becoming what you want it to become? Sort of state of legacy. How do you feel about the company and then we'll talk specifically about planning.
It's a challenging question because if I just said, is Sten making a comfortable living and are everybody on the team fine? I'd say, yeah, we're good. We're at a good place. But I think I'm looking to kind of the next version of legacy, which is, could legacy survive without Sten? Is Sten still generating most of the business for legacy? So I have to fight the feeling and giving this feeling to my team of like, it's never good enough. Like we've never hit something. So setting really clear goals and results for a year and celebrating those is something we are getting better at, and you're great at that, and you help us all do that.
Thanks.
But with the business, I would say we're not where we want to be.
Yeah, and I want to pause real quick. I think that people who are great at running a business generally share that, what you have, Sten, which is it's sort of this it's that two sides of the coin. That's the burden and the blessing of like the business is thriving because you're never really satisfied.
Yeah.
And that's the good. It's thriving, but it's also, it can weigh heavy on you because you're like, I'm never satisfied.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean?
And you do have to check yourself. I sit sometimes in my office in the quiet and reflecting on like, look how far we've come.
Absolutely.
Look at the people we help every day. And that's just kind of a centering for myself.
Yeah.
But there are things that we're struggling with still. Like marketing is a struggle for us. Not that I can't get business, but it's on the back of Sten typically.
Yeah.
And we're trying to shift more towards what's effective marketing at scale to where we get consistent leads.
Yeah.
We've tried marketing in the past, and we'll do an episode on marketing in the future, and I'll probably bring a good buddy of mine in to talk about it, there's plenty of firms that'll charge you $3,000 a month to create some content for you, to throw it up on social media, and not track it. And you're doing marketing.
My favorite, and by favorite I mean least favorite ever conversation with a marketing firm, I was like, so we can track this, right? And they're like, no, we've never done that. I'm like,
it's just working. You're doing it. It's happening. As long as you stay in business, you should keep marketing.
Yeah.
So I learned the hard way and I took 2 passes at it, paying firms about $3,000 a month to do soft generic marketing for us. Hey, let's update our website, do some SEO. And I'm like, man, is this really driving anything? Maybe we get somebody from it, but is it proven to continue to
And that can take
itself?
a lot of time, a lot of brain energy. You feel like you're doing something. You know, there's these meetings that are an hour and a half long over Zoom, and they're tweaking this and this, and it can just be like I call it rearranging the furniture.
Yep.
You know, like at the end of the day, you're all hot and sweaty, and it's like, oh, it's the same stuff.
Yep.
No movement, no growth, right?
Yeah, and that bugs me so much when it's just like busy work. It's just motion for the sake of motion. Like, are we driving towards a specific goal in a specific time frame? So there is big general marketing, and it works for some companies. I just realized like, you have to have a really, 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 really big budget to do that. And so you either need to double down and commit to it or don't do it at all. The other option is kind of sniper rifle marketing. Like I wrote a book, and we take that book with a handwritten note and we send it to people that we know would be good prospects. Yeah. Very intentional. It's not this kind of randomness, hoping it kind of works out. I can measure, I sent out 100 books and we got this many clients from people we sent it to.
Yeah.
We are now moving into a season where it's like, okay, we have a budget. We can create content. What does a more funnel type approach look like to creating value at scale? Business owners is going to be our market. But again, that's the top of funnel. That's a generic title. Right. And we're going to add value and try to funnel out the people that would be good playing consulting clients.
Yeah.
So that's a frustration we're having right now that we haven't solved. But in the future, it's not if it will be solved, it's when we create this funnel and we're getting 5 to 10 qualified business owners every month coming in to do consulting with us.
Yeah.
That's kind of the next season, and that starts to replace Sten.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I think I've told this story before, and I won't say the person's name, but it's a great story. So I'm sitting at a friend's house. They have a very healthy, I'll call it consulting business, just to keep it generic. And they've started to hire a bunch of employees to do what they do as well. They got their own office space for all these one-on-one meetings. And I could just go like, how's business? And they're like, I am so overwhelmed. And I'm like, why? And they're like, I've doubled my rates and my calendar did not change at all. And now I have a team of people that are charging my old rate and I'm getting a percentage for theirs and their calendars are getting full. And I'm like, I'm waiting to hear the bad part. Like, tell me what, you know? And they're like, I just can't. I know that I'm not taking advantage of the opportunities I need to take advantage of financially.
Yep.
And I said, well, that's really I'm happy for you, but like you could tell this person was just burnt out, just burnt out. They were not scaling their business well, even though they're hiring people. It just wasn't working. But they had more money than they ever had, and they were just like worn out. It was like it's like they had to carry it with them. They seemed literally heavy with it. And they said, yeah, but a friend of mine told me about this guy, and he meets with business owners, and he's got these great ideas. And I go, Sten. And she's like, what? Yeah, you know? And I go, yeah, it's my friend. I work with him. We run a company together. Yep. We do like the educational side of like what he. And she's like, whoa. And the reason I do that story is because that's the goal, is to be known for great ideas. That's what we train our Elite Advisor Network members to be known. Is not, I got a great policy from this person. Yep. But it's no, if you need great ideas as a business owner, go talk to her, whoever she is, right? So how do you feel like Legacy is doing on the journey to be known for planning?
I think in our market here, Franklin and Brentwood,
Yeah.
I'd say we've done it. I think
Yeah.
we have enough business to stay busy. Sten's turning business away and having other advisors on the team help. So for all intents and purposes, we've accomplished some initial goal that I would have had in my mind.
And the goal being to be identified as, oh, they do that.
Partly, but also like if you don't know the answer, you call us first.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of firms in the past, I was like, oh, you need to buy this insurance policy. Hey, you should call Sten. Nobody was talking that way. Or, hey, you need to roll over your 401k next month. Like those type of interactions are not usually happening at the exact moment that's necessary for somebody to get referred to me for that. But if we are known for creative, great ideas, someone can refer us at any moment, at any time to anybody.
Yeah.
Especially when you get into the business owner space because they know each other. They're more vocal when a problem gets solved. Yeah. They're usually a little more vocal when they have a problem that needs to be solved.
Yeah.
So I would say to the local level, we've achieved that. The goal now, and part of our mastermind we're launching next year, is to really teach people how to do this because part of it is repetition and getting to know people and solving people's problems in the community and they talk about it. The other is our business model. That a business owner can come work with me, pay me a tax-deductible fee to consult for them and solve their problems. Oh, and then by the way, we'll probably manage their money too if we want to.
Right.
And we have some partners that can help with insurance if they want to. Like, we're not leading with the stuff that turns people off.
Yeah.
We're leading with creative, good ideas and getting paid really well for it. Oh, and by the way, we do other business too still. And so that's the model that we're going to try to transplant for other people.
Absolutely. I was talking with an advisor today and or today before lunch, and he was mentioning because he's just getting this infrastructure. We're just helping him get this infrastructure built out. And he was saying he had this client that they put a strategy in place for. His business partner met this guy at a golf tournament and said, hey, have you ever heard about this? And it was just a strategy, it's classic sitting there waiting for the other guy to putt conversation, Yep. What do you do? Oh, have you ever heard about this? And the guy's like, no, check this out. You'll love this. I haven't told you this yet. Okay. So this guy calls, he's like, no. He's like, well, let me just throw like some general numbers. If you did this is what it'd be in tax savings. He's like, I've never heard of that. All right, well, your turn to putt, Bob. Okay, Bob goes putts. All right, finish the round.
Seed was planted.
Calls his CPA and says, hey, I just met a guy and he asked me about this. And why haven't I ever done that? And the CPA goes, hey, that's a really good idea.
That's right.
And he goes, well, cool. You're fired. Literally, he goes, you're fired.
Oh,
and then he goes back to the guy he had golf with, who works in the same office as one of our EAN members. And, they started doing that strategy. But here's the problem. Because our person is not yet, this is a couple months before we actually met them.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, I'm not set up to make any money from that. Now, he goes, we're managing the money, and we're grateful for that.
Yep.
He goes, but my ideas have value. That's right. And I knew that from one conversation on a putting green, right? And so it's making that shift. He's doing great. Yep. Our members are doing great in their business, but they know that there's more. And so that it is getting out, and that's one of the great parts about EAN. So that's great that that's happening, but you want it to be wider.
And I think there's a different presence in a room. When I had a great meeting this morning, I'm there with no agenda, meaning when I had to sell something in order to make money, my posture was different. I think the energy in the room was different. Now I sit there, I know this client might pay me a consulting fee. Maybe there's a chance I manage their money, but I don't have an urgency to get them to roll the money over next week because I'm giving away all my time for free until they do. I just say, that's great. Yeah, this is how our firm works. Most of the industry only gets paid if they sell you a product. Doesn't mean the products are bad. It just, that's kind of what they may be thinking about too soon. You're going to pay our firm a flat fee to build this plan out to be available for you for a year. And in the middle of that plan, if we need to help you implement stuff, we're happy to do that.
Yeah.
It's amazing. People's like, oh, yeah, that makes total sense. Why doesn't everybody do it that way? Like, it's still unusual.
Yeah.
And someday maybe it won't be. Someday that, the practice we're building might kind of be the standard. We have a lot of advisors that want to do that.
Well, it used to be really weird.
It's unique.
It used to be really weird to charge your car. And now,
That's a good point,
everybody wants to charge your car, unless you're in California.
That's right.
Can't do that. So what are you looking forward to for the as you sort of look at the rest of the year, given sort of the cycle? And again, we're going to be doing more of these, every other quarter or something like that. But as it's time of year, it's we're entering into fall. There's a danger of sort of, well, I'm going to coast and then we get some time off because it's, like you have surge coming up, or are you thinking about client events? Well, what are you doing to keep your people motivated?
Yeah, for me, it's I need to do everything I can to stay in kind of the visionary seat. If I feel like I'm falling out of that into the kind of day-to-day, that means I'm probably stepping on someone else's shoes on the team.
Okay.
And so from a visionary standpoint, the marketing, is that progressing? Again, this is a year-out decision. These are things that we have to have moving now that we'll see results farther out. It's not something that I'm just planning my day for next week.
Right. You're trying to lay tracks.
That's right.
Imagine a train's got momentum. It's like you don't want to lay the next 10 feet. You want to lay the next 1,000, next mile, right? Ahead so you can keep that momentum going.
Yeah,
right?
We have a cool client event we're planning. But then also towards the end of the year is really strategic for me as far as December, it will slow down. Clients are less active. And so then that'll move me into the fourth quarter is really like, okay, where are we going? Or is everybody set up for success on the team?
Yeah.
What are our results we're shooting for next year? But as an advisor, my vision now is, next month is when I will meet most of my clients.
Yeah.
And that'll be kind of intense for me. We'll get good referrals out of it. And I enjoy that because when I have a few months go by, I start sensing like, man, I want to add some value. Like I want to connect with those people.
What? How many seasons of surge meetings have you done? Do you think? I mean, I guess that's a weird question. Like,
so I've been doing
you do
it for
twice a year, right?
Yeah, I didn't call it surge until I met Matt Jarvis at a speaking.
We have to pay him $1 every time we say it.
That's right.
That's like
but no,
$4.
once I heard that, I was like, oh yeah, that's what I like that better. It sounds better than, hey, I'm going to batch my meetings. Anything like that. I was like, that's a good.
Welcome to the batch.
Good language. So I've been doing that for a while because it made sense to me to really be intense on
like
something
2 years,
for a period
3
of time.
years, or
probably 4 to 5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was like, I don't want to spread everything out, and I'm doing 10 things all the time. I was like, can I do this for this season and then shift my focus?
Right.
So,
and the reason I asked that is because it's like, okay, I know that's coming. I mean, literally, there's advice in this area of like, you need to prepare yourself physically, mentally, emotionally. Like,
oh yeah, I have lunch brought in every day.
Yep.
I've already booked the days out for the team to kind of fill for those meetings, days I chose ahead of time based on stuff I have going on with family and things. So there's definitely a preparation to make it as smooth as possible.
Yeah. So be, just for you listening, like be thinking intentionally about the space of the sort of the dead time of Q4. That's like, what are you going to use it for?
Oh yeah.
It's not dead as in nothing can happen. It just means that, don't expect clients to call you back. That's a poor use of your time. Don't be frustrated or surprised by that.
Yep.
You wouldn't want to talk to your advisor either, the day, 2 days before Thanksgiving or whatever. Right. So just don't try. But what are you going to do to make that really a valuable time? Yeah. So we want to thank you for taking the time to hear about the status and the future of legacy investments. We trust that it was helpful for you to hear about really the reality of running the business day to day and also have a vision for the future of the company. If you know another advisor who would be helped by hearing this specific episode, then you can send it to them right now. They'll thank you, and we thank you.